Welcome, everyone. This is the Liberal Arts and Sciences Admitted Student webinar. This webinar is designed to give students that are considering entering UCD in the Liberal Arts and Sciences program a better idea of what the program can offer them and how it can help them achieve their goals in the future, and what UCD has to support students as they enter the program and go through their time at UCD. So we're going to have a lot of information tonight that we'll share. I have this webinar set to record, so we'll share the recording after it's over so students can review it later and see all the information again. And we'll jump into this before we get into all the content with a brief poll just to see from all the students that are in the room, what subject areas are you interested in? So liberal arts and sciences is a very flexible subject with a lot of opportunities for students to explore a lot of different things. But I'm curious for people that are in the room, what you're looking to study, or if you have any ideas, what subject areas you're looking at. So I've launched a poll, hoping to get everyone's impression of what you're interested in. Take a couple seconds to think about it. You can select as many subjects as you're interested in, or just the one if there's only one that you're thinking about. Okay. Thanks for answering, everyone. This is looking good. We do have a lot of great courses that are available through liberal arts, which we'll talk about in a bit. There are some courses across a broad array of subjects, different opportunities for students: agriculture, architecture, and arts and humanities. Starting at the beginning, we've got business, engineering, science, and social sciences. So there really are a lot of things to explore, a lot of ways to see what's out there. So thanks for everyone for participating in that poll. I'm going to show the results so everyone can see what everyone else is thinking. There is a lot of interest across a range of subjects. No one keen on agriculture at the moment, but maybe that'll change by the time the end of this webinar comes about and you have more opportunities to learn what agriculture can offer at UCD. Some of our most popular programs generally are in the social sciences, arts and humanities, business, so it's not a surprise to see that there's a, a lot of interest in those subjects, and then also great opportunities in architecture, engineering, and sciences. So the STEM courses do have great opportunities for everyone as well. So thanks for participating in that. And now we'll jump into the rest of it. So to start, I'm going to introduce myself and the rest of the team from UCD in North America that are here to help support you as you explore your opportunities. So my name is Jim Pearson. I'm the regional manager based in Chicago. So I'm here to help organize the team and lead our team efforts here in North America and be here to help support you and all other students that are exploring UCD. I've been with UCD for about 10 years now, based out of Chicago. So I have a ton of experience working with students and families as you explore opportunities in Ireland, and excited for a new group of students to get out to Dublin in September 2025. I have a great team around me that works to support students across the country. Our regional director, Shannon, is based out in New York City. I have another coworker, Bridie Troy, that's also based in Chicago. And then we have a team in cities across the country. Chelsea Weaver is our recruitment manager based in Seattle. Kendall Hook is our engagement manager based in Nashville. And then Tessa Rendina and Sarah Keniston are admissions officers based in Harrisburg and Boston, respectively. And we're also joined with Carrie Collins, who's in between places right now. But we do have a really strong team that's located across the country. We travel quite a bit as well. So if you're not in an area that we live in, we're traveling all the time. We'll be in about 16 states and provinces over the next 2 to 3 months throughout the recruitment season this spring. So there will be a lot of opportunities for you to get to chat with us or meet with us, or other opportunities to meet us in person. And we're also here to be able to meet with you virtually if in person doesn't work, if you have more questions as you go through this process of making your decision. So that's our team and that's who we are. Now let's talk about why we're here tonight and learn about the Liberal Arts and Sciences course. So Liberal Arts and Sciences is a unique course in European higher education. Most public European universities don't have this kind of flexible program like you'd find in liberal arts and sciences. Generally, the traditional European education model is very focused. You do one subject or one course, one area, and never really stray outside of that. So it is very siloed. The typical program and what most students do at UCD is enter into their subject, whether it's engineering or architecture or archaeology, and you study that course the whole time you're there. We don't have general education courses, so you don't have to take courses in a lot of different areas. You don't have to take a history class if you're an engineering major. You don't have to take a math class if you're an English major, which is really great for students that are focused and know exactly what they want to do. But it's very different from the North American model of having flexibility, or this liberal arts education where you get to explore subjects in a lot of different areas and be able to, see what you like and see what fits for you before you commit to a subject. The downside of the traditional European model is that it's very difficult to change majors, to be able to move across different subjects if you change your mind. So most of the time, if you're in history for your first year at UCD and decide you don't like that, you have to start all over from year one in another course. So that kind of difficulty was raised pretty early on as we started working with North American students that wanted a little more flexibility. So the liberal arts and sciences course was created about 15 years ago, initially with just one student as a more flexible option that more mirrored the liberal arts education you get from North American universities. So you get the opportunity to expand your horizons, to explore different subjects before you commit to one subject over another. It did start with a very small cohort of just a single student, but last year we had over 50 students join the liberal arts and sciences course, and it's the single most popular program for North American students coming to UCD. So it is a great choice. You'd be in a great community of students if you join liberal arts, and having a lot of students from across North America in the program. It did also start as a course only for North American students and has since expanded, and now we have students from 9 different nationalities on the course. So there is an opportunity to meet students from across the kind of breadth of UCD's community within the program. And the point of the course is to be flexible, to give you opportunities to explore what you like, to have a little bit more time to consider what's best for you before you commit to a major. It's maybe not quite as flexible as a truly undecided major might be at a North American university, but it does provide you a lot more flexibility that you'd see at most European universities. So we're going to jump into some of the specifics about that. But before we get started, I have to go over a little bit of UCD jargon and kind of bust some of the jargon that we'll be using typically at UCD, and you'll hear a lot in this presentation, just so we're all on the same page. So the first thing is that at UCD, a class is called a module. So you'd be in your Intro to Irish Literature module as opposed to a class. So when we go through this program, we'll talk about modules and how many modules you'll take. And a module is the single class that you take during your time at UCD and different subjects, whether it's, Physics 101 or Intro to Creative Writing. One module at UCD is typically 5 credits. Some modules that are more intensive or that span a year might be 10 or 15 or more, but typically you'll take 5 credit modules. And in a trimester, you'll take 6 modules or 30 credits. So the typical load for fall and spring trimester is 6 modules, which means you'll take in a standard academic year 12 modules for 60 credits. The other thing to clarify that we call the terms trimesters because there's a autumn, spring, and summer trimester. Undergraduate students typically don't have to concern themselves with the summer trimester. That's typically mostly just for graduate students, and that summer trimester is where graduate students will do their research, their thesis, their dissertation, their internship, or capstone as part of their program. Generally, students can ignore that, but it's still part of the UCD academic calendar, so we talk about trimesters when you're at UCD. When you get to UCD, you'll be in stage 1 and in year 1. Stage and year can typically be the same, but it isn't always the same. For example, when liberal arts and sciences makes it a little bit more confusing, a stage is usually the first year of modules in a program, but that can stretch over multiple years in liberal arts and sciences because you're taking more time, you're spreading your courses out. So you might be in a stage for more than a year. So it does get a bit confusing sometimes when you hear about that, but generally when we talk about stage, it'd be the same as the year you are in your course. And then when we look back at modules, there are 3 different kinds of modules that you can concern yourselves with. There's core modules. These are the modules that every student in a major has to take. That's the part of your course that isn't negotiable. It's kind of the foundation of the major that you're studying. Then there's optional modules. These are all related to the subject you're taking, but usually you'll have a list of multiple optional modules, and this is where you can explore your passions within your subject. So if you were a politics student, you might have 1 or 2 core modules, like Intro to Political Theory, and then 10 optional modules you can take, and you have to pick the 2 or 3 that most interest you. So maybe you'll take an American politics module, or maybe you'll take a EU politics module, but it will be within your subject, but you'll have a little more flexibility to explore your interests and your passion within the subject. And then almost all courses have the option for elective modules. And this is where you can take any course in any area, regardless of your major. So you could take an elective that is in your subject or a related one, or if you're a politics student, you can take a horticulture module just for fun or to explore something new or different. A lot of students will take an elective every year in a language to be able to kind of progress through maybe into intermediate level of Spanish or Portuguese or something, but you'll have flexibility to take any course in any area or any module in any area in or out of your course. So that's a kind of basic overview of some of the words that we'll be using frequently throughout this presentation. And that is a lot. There's a lot more resources available online to help break this down for you. We even have a published Jargon Buster where you can look at all the terms we use frequently. That'll be linked later on. If there are any questions during about this or anything else throughout the rest of the presentation, feel free to put a question into the Q&A and I'll answer that at the end of the presentation. So this kind of busy chart shows you what your options are within liberal arts and sciences and the kind of progression that you'll take as you explore your opportunities. So it starts at the top and works its way down. So in the first year of the liberal arts and sciences program, all students will be liberal arts and sciences students. That's where you'll take a selection of courses, a sampling of different opportunities to see what you like or what you're interested in. So you'll take those year one courses and maybe you're exploring between architecture and business or exploring between science and agriculture. You'll have that 1 year in liberal arts and sciences. When you look at the left of this, if you choose one of the course options on the left side of the diagram, agricultural science, food science, human nutrition, or sustainable food systems, sciences, social sciences, after your first year in liberal arts and sciences, you declare the major that you want to go into, say science, biology, genetics. And then years 2, 3, and 4 at UCD, you are a science major. You're a genetics major or a physiology major, whatever course you choose. So you only have that first year in liberal arts and sciences. It's a bit more rigid and structured, the kind of courses you'll take that first year because you're going into your course the very next year and you're finishing after 4 years with your bachelor's degree in that course. If you're on the right side of this chart, if you're interested in engineering, business, architecture, or arts and humanities, then you'll take your first year in liberal arts. You'll also do a second year in liberal arts and sciences. And in your third and fourth year, you'll be in your major and doing just the courses in that subject. So depending on the pathway that you choose, the subjects you're looking for, what you want to do, that will change how many years you're a liberal arts and sciences student, and will also affect how flexible you can be in exploring multiple subjects before you commit to a major, which we'll talk about as well. The one course right in the middle, the arts program, which we call the BA Joint Honors, where you're studying arts and humanities subjects like film or English or history, that has the option to accelerate a little bit. The typical pathway is to do first and second year in liberal arts, third and fourth year in the arts, and graduate in 4 years with your arts degree. But if you do your first year in liberal arts and sciences, realize you're 100% committed to the arts program, you can go into that after your first year and graduate in 3 years with your BA. So there's a few different options for you available here. And the kind of range of courses that are represented in this chart represents the majority of programs that we offer at UCD at an undergraduate level. So there's a lot to choose from, a lot of subjects here, which we'll explore as we go forward through this presentation. There are, however, a few subjects that are not available through liberal arts and sciences. So these are subjects that really don't fit, that don't have a home in liberal arts, that have to be entered direct entry. This is not comprehensive, but a good summary of the most popular programs that have to be done direct entry that you can't progress to through liberal arts. If you want to go into psychology, law, computer science, any of our health sciences courses, whether that's sports and exercise medicine or medicine, physiotherapy, our sustainability programs, city planning and environmental policy, our more specialized BA humanities courses, and then our commerce international course, those programs have to be done direct entry. So you wouldn't be able to progress into psychology from liberal arts and sciences. So it is a very focused, these are very focused degrees which don't have the flexibility that our other subjects have to provide entry through liberal arts and sciences. If you're sitting there and you're like, ooh, that's what I want to do. I want to go into law. I want to go into computer science. And you're considering liberal arts or you haven't offered liberal arts, that's something you should reach out to us about. Our email address in North America, all one word, at ucd.ie is the best way to contact us. And you can chat about your subject options as you're thinking about this. So that's definitely something that you should think about. Make sure that the course that you want to do is available through the liberal arts and sciences pathway. As we look at the different subject options. This kind of breaks down a little bit more what I was just discussing about the progression pathways and what you'll do when you're in UCD in your year one liberal arts degree. If on the left you decide that you want to do agriculture, food science, human nutrition science, or social sciences, these subjects in the top left box, at the end of year one, you'll declare your major as food science or social sciences, studying archaeology and politics. Then you progress into your pathway in stage two, as long as you passed all the prerequisite modules during year one. So it is important to pass your classes to make sure that you have the required classes that you need to go on to stage two of your course. And at the end of year one, if you've passed those modules that you needed, if you've made sure that you've met the requirements, then you'll go into that subject. And the kind of great thing about the liberal arts course is once you do that, once you progress into social sciences, you are a social science student. You will graduate with the same degree as a student that went direct entry into that course. You'll be part of the course like any other student. You don't have an asterisk on your transcript or, over your head that shows that you were first a liberal arts student and then transferred into your course. You'll end up with the same degree with the same opportunities as anyone else would have. If you decide not to do one of those courses on the left, at the end of year two, you'll declare for arts, architecture, business, or engineering, and then you'd progress into stage two of that pathway, but in your third year at UCD. And that's where stage and year are similar but don't always align. Um, and then you do have to, again, pass the prerequisite modules, but you'll have the entirety of year one and two to take the modules you need to go in to the next year of those courses. One thing that I have to emphasize strongly is the maths requirement at UCD. Most courses, the courses listed here, have some kind of minimum maths requirement to be able to enter the course and to succeed in the course. All these courses include maths in some way. Even if you're interested in social sciences, you'll do some kind of statistics course or research program, and you have to have kind of a basic maths ability to be able to succeed in the course. And it's really important that you have that ability. If you're entering into liberal arts and sciences and progressing into one of these courses, you have a few different ways to show that you have the maths abilities to succeed, that you meet the requirements. You can show that either through your secondary education or by taking a foundational maths modules in your first year at UCD. For example, engineering has one of the strictest math requirements. Obviously, engineering is a very maths heavy subject. So in engineering, typically you'd have to take AP Calculus and get a 3 or better. There are some other options, taking a college class or something. If you don't have AP Calculus and you enter into UCD Liberal Arts and Sciences and want to progress into engineering, there are two maths modules you'll take in your first year, fall and spring trimester, and you have to receive a 70% in both of those modules. If you don't receive that passing grade, you won't be able to progress into engineering after year one. So it's really important that you know the requirements for maths of different courses, which our team will be able to help explain to you, and that if you want to progress into one of these subjects, that you have the ability to succeed in them. And the most common issue that students face in progressing into the courses is maybe not meeting the maths requirements and not focusing enough on that. And it really is a pivotal part of many of these courses. Even if you think you're going into business because you like HR or marketing, there's still a big part of those courses that revolves around maths abilities, and you have to be able to be successful in that regardless. So all of this will be a part of your advising as you go into your course, as you start at UCD, as you pick your first year modules. But I just want to raise it to make sure you know that most of the courses at UCD do have some kind of at least base level maths requirement, and you're going to have to be prepared to that for that to be successful in the courses. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what the experience is like in some of the courses that we have at UCD. So these are some of the programs that are available through the liberal arts and science course, and walking through this will give you an idea of what your first year or two will be like in these programs. The first one we're going to start with is the BA Joint Honors, and that's for students that are thinking about going into an arts and humanities subject. So this is unfortunately one of the more complicated courses that we have, so it's a tough one to start with, but it's a good way to illuminate the vast array of choices that you have at UCD. So if you were to go into arts and humanities, these are the subjects that we offer, and this grid shows you what dual subject combinations you can study. The BA Arts is set up as a double major program. You do two majors over your entire course of study at UCD, and you graduate with a double major in those two subjects. Anywhere you see a check mark on this grid is a valid dual major option. So you can study English and archaeology, you can study history and Irish folklore. You can study Latin and linguistics. So there's a lot of opportunities here for you to be able to study. Not every subject combination is available. Art history and archaeology, the top left corner, is not available. A lot of that's due to timetabling and making sure you can get into the classes you need to be able to complete all your requirements. But there's a ton of opportunities here. Obviously, you can see the huge list of courses that are available. If you're interested in arts and humanities, the great thing is that you get to take a bunch of different arts courses before you commit to something. So you can take a drama and an English and a film course and kind of see which one is the right fit for you as you make your decision of what to get your major in. So there's a huge array of choices available to you in liberal arts and science or in arts and humanities. And the liberal arts and sciences course gives you the opportunity to explore those options. So this is an example of kind of what your courses, what your modules would look like in your first two trimesters, your first year at UCD. So in the autumn trimester, you might take Ireland Uncovered, an Irish study course, just to get oriented to Ireland and learn a bit about the country and the culture. You might take academic writing and practice or introduction to arts. And then we have a whole list of modules that you can choose that you would pick for a couple other modules. So your third and fourth module in your first trimester would be other art subjects. And that's where you'll explore film and drama maybe, because those are the ones that you're thinking about studying. Then you can also take a couple modules, your fifth and sixth module, from any area within liberal arts and sciences. So you could take a science course, a business course, an architecture course, a few different things to see what you're interested in and what you want to do. In the spring trimester, after you finished your first trimester at UCD, you'll take two more arts subjects and then up to 4 modules in arts or in anything else. At the bottom, you can see the requirement. You have to complete a minimum of 10 credits or 2 modules from each major you want to pursue, and you may be able to transfer into the BA Arts program after year 1. So generally, it's just showing that you have to take at least 2 classes in your first year in the subjects you want to major in. So you do get the opportunity to explore, but you can't explore nonstop. You can't just take different courses, different modules every single trimester. You still have to make sure that you're on track to be able to meet the minimum requirements. But with arts, that's pretty flexible. By just taking 2 of the modules you need in your first year, you'll be on track to move on to the next area. And this is a kind of abbreviated list of the different modules that are available if you're looking into arts. And you can see there's a huge variety here: German language, film and media theory, Vikings in the Celtic world if you want to take a Celtic civilization course, or French grammar and expression if you have some French ability. So you will have a lot of flexibility, and this is a very shortened list of the different options that are available to you. Um, then we're going to talk about social sciences. And this is also a very complicated subject option because there are a ton of options available to you. If you want to study in social sciences, the social science degree is set up as, like the BA Arts, a 2-subject course. That can be either a double major or a major and a minor with social sciences. And this chart kind of shows you the options that you have available to you. If you want to study archaeology, you can do that as a joint major with one of the options listed there: geography, social justice, statistics, economics, or a minor in art history, Celtic civilization, geology, Greek and Roman civilization, Irish folklore, Chinese, or Irish. So you can see that there are a ton of options. And just like with the arts course we just discussed, you'll have the opportunity to explore a few of the different subjects in social sciences. But because with social sciences, you progress into the social science degree program after 1 year, you do have a bit more restriction on how much you can explore and how many different subjects you can explore within the liberal arts and sciences course. So kind of example first year at UCD would show your first trimester taking 3 courses that we pick for you that are a good setup. There's a bit of flexibility here, but it's a kind of example of taking a sociology course, an Irish studies course, and a philosophy course, and then taking 2 social science major courses, whether that's philosophy, archaeology, or something else. And then your 6th module in that first trimester can be anything else. That's where you can explore architecture, for example. And then in the spring trimester, you're going to have to take at least 2 social science courses and then 4 modules in anything else. And you have to complete 25 social science credits or 5 modules worth in year 1. And 10 of those have to be in a major you want to pursue. So it does sound complicated and there's a lot of requirements here, but again, we do have a team at UCD that will help you with your module selection to make sure that you're on track to move into the major you want to do. But you do have to think about it that you get the opportunity to explore courses across a range of subjects, but it's not limitless, and you do have to make sure that you're choosing the right modules to be able to progress into the right subject. And again, this is another kind of abbreviated list of the different courses that you can study through social sciences that might be interesting to you, that you might be able to explore, whether that's introduction to economics, information and social media, if you're looking at information and communication studies. We have great philosophy courses or archaeology courses that are available as well. So there's a lot of courses that you can explore through the different modules that we offer in social sciences. Our science program, again, has a lot of different opportunities. As you can see, there are a lot of subjects available within the three areas of science: biological, chemical, and mathematical or physical sciences. You can only do a single major in science, though, so it makes the process of choosing what you want to do a little bit easier. You can choose to do any of these subjects as your major within science, but you do have to pick one of them. And you'll be able to explore that through your first year in liberal arts and sciences. And you can see in liberal arts and sciences, 6 of your 12 modules, or about half of them, will be within the science courses that you're going to take, in addition to Principles of Scientific Inquiry, which is kind of a standard undergraduate science course that all science students take, and then the opportunity to take 4 modules in your first year in areas outside of science. So there's a little bit of flexibility, but again, science is a course that you enter after your first year at UCD. So, or after your first year UCD and liberal arts course, so you don't have as much flexibility as you might in the arts program. And again, a ton of courses that your modules that you'll be able to explore within the liberal arts and science course that you'll be able to see that might be available to you. Business is one of our most popular courses for students to explore through the liberal arts and science program. And it is a great fit because there's a lot of opportunity to explore the different areas within business in the UCD courses. And it gives you a good flexible pathway into business because you start the business program after your second year in UCD, so you get 2 full years to be able to take the business modules that you need. There are 11 modules that you have to take as part of the business program in your first 2 years, which means about half of your learning will be in business and the other half will be in something else throughout your first 2 years at UCD if you're looking at business. So you can see here that the first 3 modules each semester on these lists are business modules essentially, and then you get the flexibility of the other half of your courses being able to take something else. So going into business, even if you are really sure you want to do business, you do get the opportunity to explore a lot of different subjects in a lot of different areas as you're going through the program because it gives you the flexibility to take those courses and spread them out over 2 years. This is the list of core modules you have to take. The business courses at UCD, Commerce and BSc Business, have a little bit of every area of business involved in your learning. So you'll take accounting, finance, HR, management, and a lot of other courses within the business areas, and you'll take a little bit of everything. So you get to know all the different areas and subject areas within business. So you do have to take a little bit of all of that. So you'll take a business law course and financial accounting, an organizational course, economics, and all that. So you will take a little bit of courses across every different area. And again, business is an area where there actually is quite a strong maths requirement. And if you don't meet the minimum maths requirement from your high school grades or tests, then you will have to take a foundational maths course when you start at UCD. A course that wasn't very popular when we launched the poll at the beginning of this webinar, but could be a great opportunity for you depending on what you're interested in or where you want to go, is our agriculture programs. Again, agriculture offers a lot of different subject areas available as a major option. Some of our most popular ones are animal science or animal science equine science, particularly for students that want to go on to become veterinarians. These are great preparation for that. But there's also great opportunities within horticulture, food business, forestry, agri-environmental sciences to get degrees that are very science-based with a great focus in science, but that give you a very practical, hands-on ability to learn agriculture and agricultural systems to be able to take that learning and put it into practice. Agriculture is one of the courses that you'll do after your first year in liberal arts and sciences, and there is a prescribed list of some 25 credits or 5 modules that you'll have to take to progress into agriculture after year one. A great benefit, though, for students that are thinking about going into one of these STEM fields is that most of the modules that you'll have to take in your first year in thinking of going to agriculture are interchangeable with some of the modules you'll take to go into the science courses or the sustainable food systems course. So you do have flexibility in that first year to explore a bunch of different STEM courses and be able to progress into any of those 3 subjects at the end of the first year. So it does give you that flexibility to explore within this STEM area by taking some physics or biology or mathematics, chemistry courses, and then choosing to go into one of our science programs like genetics or environmental biology, or our agriculture courses like sustainable food systems or agri-environmental sciences. And there is a huge breadth of courses, again, with modules within the agriculture program that you'll be able to explore as part of your education within agriculture. And then we're going to talk about engineering a bit. Engineering's also an interesting one for a reason we'll talk about later, that the course progression is different than going direct entry engineering. So you'll have 2 years in liberal arts and sciences to explore engineering, and you'll take essentially 12 modules within engineering within your first 2 years in liberal arts. So it gives you the chance to spread that out over the 2 years in liberal arts and sciences. And you'll take a handful of engineering courses and then a handful of other modules. Many students will explore science or architecture as other options, as alternatives to engineering within the first 2 years. And then you get the opportunity to progress into one of our engineering subjects. And at UCD, we have multiple engineering opportunities available, including mechanical, civil, biomedical, chemical, and electrical or electronic. So you can progress into any of those areas after you start in the engineering program at UCD. And these are the core modules that you'll have to take, including a sampling of different kinds of engineering courses like mechanics, energy engineering, electrical and electronic, and then taking some, elective options within engineering that are specific to the kind of engineering you're interested in pursuing. A thing to note if you're going into engineering through the liberal arts and science program, because of the extra flexibility the liberal arts course offers to students going into engineering, after the 4-year program is over, you would graduate with a Bachelor of Science in Engineering. A Bachelor of Science in Engineering is not the minimum degree needed to practice as an engineer in Ireland and in most countries around the world. So that 4-year Bachelor of Science in Engineering course, you could exit UCD with your bachelor's degree, but you wouldn't be able to practice as an engineer with that degree because of the liberal arts program offering more flexibility. If you want to have the minimum required degree to practice as an engineer, you have to finish the Bachelor of Engineering degree, which would take an extra year through the liberal arts and sciences course, which is 5 years. Or you can do a Master's of Engineering and graduate in 6 years. So there are different options to exit engineering through liberal arts, depending on what you want to do. Some students will exit after the 4-year Bachelor of Science Engineering, but then progress into an area outside of engineering. They don't want to practice as an engineer. Maybe they want to go into business or go into a totally different area, maybe, biology or one of the sciences. And then they don't need that engineering degree to be able to practice as an engineer. The other students that are sure they want to practice will do a 5-year Bachelor of Engineering course, or the 6-year Master of Engineering program. So you'll have the opportunity to explore those different options as you progress through your time at UCD. So there is a lot available to you, and that was a pretty quick rapid fire exploration of the different modules you'll take, what courses will look like, and what your experience at UCD will look like when you're studying on the liberal arts and science program, depending on what you're interested in. And now you have to think, is the liberal arts and sciences program the right choice for you? Maybe it is. You're like, yes, I want flexibility. I want time to consider my options. I want to be able to take a handful of modules in different areas the first few years, and I need the time to think about it. So you have the offer that's right for you. You can accept your offer, look out for updates over the summer, and spend the time exploring what's available through liberal arts and sciences, making sure that you're doing the right thing for you, that you know what you want to do when you arrive at UCD. But if we've gotten to the end of this presentation, you're like, oh, maybe UCD, maybe the LANS course isn't the right choice for me. I might actually want to go directly into a course. If you are 100% committed to doing a double major in film and drama, or in doing the Bachelor of Social Sciences course and doing archaeology and politics, Or if you're committed to doing one of those courses that's not available through liberal arts and sciences, like law or computer science, then liberal arts and sciences wouldn't be the best choice for you to study at UCD. If that's true, connect with us at the UCD North America Global Center. Email northamerica@uc.ie and say, I have this offer to liberal arts, but I don't know if I'm in the right course. One of our team members will be able to reach out to you. We can set up a meeting or we can chat about your course options. You do have to know that entry requirements vary by course, so you may not be able to enter direct entry into one of the courses you're interested in if you don't meet the minimum entry requirements for that program. But you can apply to a new course all the way up until August as long as there's availability in the course. So if you are on the left side here and you're committed to liberal arts and sciences, but then in June you're like, oh shoot, I actually want to do something else, you can reach out to us then and say, I actually think I'm in the wrong program. I think I want more time or flexibility. And we can help work with you to make sure there's another option for you. The most important thing is to connect with us as early as possible if you need help or if you're considering other options or might want to change something. It's much more difficult to change your major, to change your course after you've started at UCD. But if you reach out to us now, if you reach out to us throughout the spring or early summer, we can try and find a different option to you for you to make it an easier transition to make you help you find the right place for you at UCD. Wherever you end up, you'll have a lot of opportunities and a lot of support to make sure you're successful throughout the way. And we've had a lot of students that have gone through this liberal arts and sciences program over the last 15 years that have made a lot of their education and been able to find their place at UCD and after. So one of our former students that studied in the liberal arts course, he went on to the Bachelor of Commerce in Business. And then after he finished his bachelor's degree, ended up going into a master's in business and getting a degree in aviation finance. He currently works at an aviation company in Los Angeles. And this testimonial he gave us, Patrick said that he chose the liberal arts and science program because he knew he wanted pursue a career in business, but was interested in a lot of arts programs and history. And the liberal arts program prepared him for a master's degree in aviation finance. And then he had the opportunity to travel to New Zealand to study abroad in the third year of his undergraduate degree. So the liberal arts program gave him that opportunity to go into the subject he knew he wanted to do, but also with a little bit of flexibility and being able to explore some other courses and get the skills that he needed to succeed in his degree. And Mackenzie here entered into the liberal arts because she wanted to explore a lot of different things. And she said she was apprehensive because she thought it would make it harder to choose a major. But she got to explore a lot of subjects across the whole breadth of opportunities in liberal arts, like biology, linguistics, music, and then ended up doing her degree in history and folklore, two subjects she'd never even considered studying before she started in the liberal arts program. So this does give you the opportunity. Like I said, maybe you're not thinking about agriculture, but if you take one of those horticulture programs or nutrition modules in your first year, maybe that'll totally change your impression because you're getting to explore subjects that you didn't know existed and that were opportunities for. So there are a few other resources that I want to highlight, and one of the most important ones is the ability to connect with other North American undergraduate students. So this is a QR code to our North American undergraduate student WhatsApp group. If you don't know what WhatsApp is, it's the most popular communication app, like text messaging app that people in Ireland will use. Will be absolutely essential when you get to Ireland to be able to communicate with everyone. So if you don't have WhatsApp, you may as well download it now, and you may as well scan this QR code to be able to join the group and chat with other students that are going to be at UCD next fall. So this is a great way to connect with people. You can talk about where you're from, talk about what course you're going into, and plan for meeting up in Dublin in the fall. So I hope everyone takes a picture of this and remembers to join the group to be able to connect with other students soon. And then what's next? What do you do from here? So you can explore your course options. You can reach out to us at northamerica@ucd.ie if you want to explore other course opportunities, if you want to make sure you're in the right program for you. You can also look at all the information we covered in the Liberal Arts and Sciences brochure on our website and make sure that you know you're going into the right program. After you're committed to attending UCD and going into liberal arts and sciences or another course if you change your option, you'll accept your offer and pay your course deposit. Sometime over the summer, in early summer, you'll get a survey that asks formally for what you're interested in studying in liberal arts and sciences. We do need to know early on if you're committed to studying business or engineering or something else, or if you're exploring a bunch of different subjects and have no idea. And this gives us a better idea of how to support you to make sure that we can give you the resources you need to choose your modules. So that survey will go out over the summer. It will be a great way to indicate what you're interested in, but it's not a commitment. If you say you want to do business in that survey, that doesn't mean you can't change your mind in September or January and explore different options, but it is a way for us to help plan better to support you as you start at UCD. Something that always surprises students is that registration for modules at UCD happens very late compared to North American universities. Typically, new students will start their registration the very end of August or the first week of September. This is because Irish students that have applied to university don't find out what university they get into until the middle of August. So their results come out in August, and then they find out what university they got into, and then 3 or 4 weeks later, term starts. So it's a whole different calendar and schedule compared to what we're used to in North America. So that's just to say that things happen at a bit of a delayed timeline compared to what you might be used to or what your friends would be doing if they're going to US or Canadian universities. So make sure to remember that things will be a little bit on a different timeline, but that we're here to support you and make sure that you're ready to succeed. And then the registration process will start in late August, early September, and the Liberal Arts and Sciences program office that's based on campus will be able to help you through that by providing you the modules that you need to make sure you're registered for or that you should be exploring depending on the subjects that you're interested in. So you will get some more individualized advising as you explore your liberal arts and sciences courses, make sure that you're in the modules you need to succeed. So between now and May 1st, what you really just have to think about is if UC is the right fit for you and if liberal arts and sciences is the right course at UCD. And if we are, make sure to accept your course offer by the May 1st deadline, if that's the deadline on your offer letter. And then after that, we'll have a lot of supports and ways to connect over the summer to prepare you to get ready to get to campus in Dublin in September.